Do you ever watch these clean cinematic car films and think, whoa, I wish I could make something like this? Then this video is for you. I'm going to show you my full process on how I made my most recent cinematic short film with this beautiful Ferrari 348. From the very first idea all the way to the final edit. I'll cover how to build your story, find inspiration, make a shot list, pick the right music. I'll show you the exact gear that I use, my camera, gimbal, microphone settings, and I'll show you how I actually shoot the video. Cinematic B-roll, car roller shots and everything in between. I will drop the timestamps so you can easily skip to the part you want to watch. But if you want all the secret sauce, watch the entire video. We start from a completely blank slate, an empty timeline. At the time of recording, it's autumn here in Belgium, and I started seeing these super nice autumn car videos on Instagram and YouTube, and I thought to myself, I also want to create something like this. And that's where the idea started. When I scroll on social media, I don't just scroll to scroll, well, sometimes of course, I scroll to get ideas, and when I see a nice car video that inspires me, I save it. I have a folder called Car Inspiration for all-round inspiration, a folder called Car Shots for very specific shots that I like, and a folder for songs or audio that I want to use maybe later. Right now Christmas is around the corner and I'm already seeing those super nice Christmas videos with trees on top of cars, lights taped around the cars. Maybe I should make a Christmas inspiration folder. You get the point. You start with a simple idea and you build from there. Now you want to give the idea more shape. I go to YouTube and search for things like cinematic autumn run, fall drive, cinematic cars and whatsoever, and I watch a bunch of videos. This gets me into the vibe and makes me excited to create my own version. Sometimes I'll also scroll through my Instagram car inspiration folders, and from there I start stealing like an artist. For this video I took inspiration from creators like Brennan White, Project One, Shokan Visuals and some other great filmmakers. And no, that doesn't mean you are just copying. There are only so many ways to film a car. The trick here is to get inspiration from different people, combine those ideas, add your own style, your own taste, your own story, because even if you copy one or more shots, you will always have a different car, different setting, different environment, different color grading, different music, different story. So don't be scared to do this. Be inspired by others and make it your own. Once I have the rough idea, I will pick a song. And this is super important because the music sets the tone of your entire video. In one of the videos that I watched on YouTube, I heard a soft piano track that I thought would fit perfectly with calm autumn vibes. So I went to Epidemic Sounds, I searched soft piano and I listened to a bunch of music and saved the ones that I like. For this video I think I listened for about an hour until I found the one song that felt just right. It matched the soft, subtle autumn feeling that I was going for. When I find the song, I drop it into the timeline in my editing software. Now we can start building the story together with the music. A good story makes the viewer feel like they are actually there, living the experience. I focused on two things: chronological order, so that the story makes sense, and a variety of shots, so that your video stays interesting to watch. Some simple sequences you can use are an opening sequence where the driver pulls up to the location, a sequence on showcasing the car with cinematic B-roll shots, maybe opening the trunk or the hood whatsoever, a sequence on getting into the car, starting the engine, driving away, and a sequence on the roller shots of the car driving. And for the variety of shots you can mix wide establishment shots, close-up detail shots, high angle, low angle shots, shots from the inside of the car and other creative shots you can think about. Here's where it gets powerful. I go back to those cinematic car videos on YouTube and Instagram and I start taking screenshots of shots that I like and might want to recreate in my video. I will open up my editing program with the song already there and I will drop the screenshots in the timeline. Now I can start arranging them in a way that tells a story. I don't include every single shot. For some parts I will just put texts like cinematic B-roll or interior shots, but the key shots and sequences I want are in the storyboard. The goal is to have a clear vision, make filming and editing easier and faster, and you make sure you don't forget shots while you're filming. And when I'm done, I export this as my reference video and shot list for when I'm filming. I actually learned this concept from Ronin Projects in one of our live calls inside our Automotive Filmmakers community, where we invite internet's best automotive creators so we can learn from them and be inspired. This community is the best place if you want to learn automotive filmmaking step by step. You can try it completely for free. I will drop a link in the description box below so you can check it out. You have done the work. Inspiration, song, storyboard, shot list. Now we need a nice location. You can have the coolest car and the cleanest shots, but if your background or setting is boring, your video will still feel boring. Sometimes my friend Aveli Visuals and we go for a tour in the car and we just drive around to find cool spots. But that's not always possible, so for this shoot I actually went on Google Maps and I looked for a forest in my neighborhood. I found a small forest with some roads, with trees in the background that looked accessible by car. When we got there we found a few perfect spots and we chose this clean little road as our main location. Do note, this forest was actually super small, just 2 forest roads and a few streets with trees on both sides, but that's all we needed. You don't always need a crazy huge location. Sometimes one good spot or just one good street is all you need. With the car parked in its position, we can start filming. For this shoot I used the Sony a7 IV, Sony 2470 G Master lens, DJI RS4 gimbal, Portkeys LH5P2 monitor screen, FreeWheel CPL plus variable ND locking filter and a few extra accessories. I will link everything in the description so you can check it all out. For the B-roll shots, 60 fps, 1/125 shutter, S-Log 3 for flexibility in post and white balance 5600 Kelvin. I usually like to warm up with some classic B-roll shots, being front pushing, back pushing, side pushing, detail shots interior, exterior, orbit shots, and then I will move on to the story shots. The drive-by opener shot, arriving at the location, opening and closing the hood and the trunk. For these cinematic B-roll shots, I set my gimbal follow speed to slow. If you want to know exactly how I shoot my cinematic B-roll shots, I have another video on this topic on the channel where I break it all down into detail. Then we shoot the roller shots. I set my gimbal follow speed to medium so it reacts a bit faster and matches the motion of the car better. For exhaust sounds I use the DJI Mic 2 and I clip the transmitter here onto the license plate. And the receiver I will set it to about -12 decibels. No noise cancellation, no low pass filter, and I will press record on the DJI Mic 2 like this, so it will record internally. And it's recording internally when the red LED light is on. I usually don't connect my receiver to my Sony camera for this because wireless audio can sometimes drop out and internal recording is more reliable. You might have to match the audio in post, but for me that's never an issue. Safety is super important here. You're hanging out of a car with expensive camera gear in your hand and another car is driving behind you. And that's exactly why I use a pretty standard harness and a lanyard attached to 2 buckles inside the car. one left and one right. You don't want to use just one buckle, because if the driver makes a sharp turn, you can slide sideways, which is dangerous for yourself, the camera, and just everybody involved. This setup keeps me safe and stable, so I can focus on filming. If you want a more detailed breakdown on how I shoot roller shots, I have a full video on this topic with my exact camera, audio and gimbal settings, and a few cool roller shots you can make. We also filmed a few flyby shots and some extra b-roll of the environment to sprinkle in the edit later. I also like to include a few handheld shots from the passenger seat while the car is driving. For these, I take off the camera from the gimbal and I will turn off IBIS or in-body stabilization. This will give the shots a natural, subtle shake, which really helps to tell the story and make it feel more real and alive to enhance the viewer experience. Once we have all the footage, it's time to edit. Remember the storyboard we made with the screenshots? Now we can replace those screenshots with the clips that we filmed. We fill in the blanks here and there and we finalize the story. You'll still need to do some puzzle work, but most of the heavy lifting for the story was done before you even went to film. To add a bit of an extra feeling, I wanted some soft ambient forest sounds, so birds, falling leaves, some wind. So I went back into epidemic sounds and searched for forest sounds, bird sounds, and I found a track. I dropped it into my timeline, turned down the volume so it sits just quietly under the music. It is subtle, but it makes the video feel more alive. And if you want to learn exactly how I color graded these clips, watch this video next.